Now, this is good. All right. I'm not even cutting up this video. No production quality, no lights, no makeup, no costume. Because this is the same thing I've noticed with the last 2 Marvel updates I've done. When I first started doing my Marvel updates, I was so enthusiastic. We had just come off the high of Endgame, and we was cooking, and I was like, yeah. We get WandaVision, and we heard about Loki. We hadn't seen it yet, but we heard there was going to be something called Loki, and it's like, yeah, we got some good shit coming, And then the D+ shows started happening, and one by one, they have gotten progressively worse. Now, I talked already about the first 3, Wanda, Loki, and Winter Soldier. Those are the first 3. And those came out, relatively okay. They have their problems, but they came out okay. Well received. We were excited to see where they were going. What's okay, weird opening, but I'm interested. You have my attention. You have my attention. So, and then it just started going left, like Hawkeye. I watched 3 episodes of Hawkeye and then gave up. And then I watched all but the last episode of Moon Knight. Now here's a funny story about Moon Knight. The 6th episode aired 3 weeks ago. I didn't watch it. I don't care. I hadn't seen any real people talking about like the ending of Mandalorian when Luke Skywalker CGI showed up and people were talking about that. So that was a big ending. The ending of Mandalorian season 2. We saw Boba Fett, so it was like, that was a big ending, but the end of Moon Knight happened, and I still don't know what happened, and I've been online every day, all day, for 3 weeks, and no one has said what happened. Did Amit ever wake up? Does anybody know what happened to Amit? It's funny, I was only interested in Amit. I was only interested in seeing if Amit was going to wake up, and what Amit was going to do, So, and Moon Knight happened, and Moon Knight was garbage. Let me turn this projector off. Because that light is in my eye. Okay. So Moon Knight happened. So I'm confused now because I represent the average comic book. Okay. I represent a little deeper level than your average comic book person because I will do the research and homework and the lore and stuff like that. I will do the research. Like, I won't read the comic book, but I will do the research on it. I'll read about what happened and all the characters. I won't actually read it. I'll do the work for you. So that's who I represent. So I'm wondering, because even I don't know, who are these new Marvel's movies made for? Because, okay, your comic book audience, who is that? Boys, most of the time, boys. And, okay, so we have girl characters. Of course they are. And they want little girls to enjoy comic books too, because I'm, okay, talk about myself as a little girl. They want little girls to enjoy comic books, but mostly my brother had comic books, but I didn't really care because, I just wasn't in. I'm just a girl. I wasn't into that. I was Barbie and girls and Cabbage Patch Kids, So I just, and nothing special about me or different about me. It's just a fact. Like, you can't say, I'm not going to say all girls don't like comic books because it's like the majority, like, who likes Barbie dolls? Majority girls. Who likes Hot Wheels? Majority boys. There are some things that are just there, and I don't politically cry. I don't care. There are some things that are just there, ingrained in your knowledge. And comic book seems to be a boy thing. Yes, you got your comic book girls. I know you're out there. I'm talking about majority. So you want to bring in some girls. You want to purposely, let's bring Supergirl. Let's bring Batgirl. Okay, that's great. Now, me personally, I love Batman, Bruce Wayne. Even when I was little, Adam West and Michael Keaton was my first Batman movie, my first new Batman experience. I loved it. And I didn't say, I wish it was a Batgirl. I mean, I heard of a Batgirl from the Adam West thing and a Batwoman and stuff, but, I was like, she could, I'm okay with Batman because we had Catwoman and you have Storm and you have, the Scarlet Witch. You have girl characters, you have boy characters. So it's like, okay, so they're gonna have the She-Hulk. They have the Ironheart. Okay. But here's what I'm saying though: the stuff they're making now? Who is it for? Because when they made the stuff before, when they would make She-Hulk comics before, and this is just me doing the research for you guys out there who don't care. You just want to go see the movie, enjoy it. You don't want to know the backstory about how she turned and whatever, and who she cared and who was her first boyfriend. You don't care. I know it for you, and I'll skip over the crap parts. Back in the day, they would write these characters differently, as they would write them as heroes. Like, you remember, I don't even have to go so far back in the day, the Avengers, the first Avengers, and Iron Man 2, fucking Scarlett Johansson, what's her name again? Black Widow. That was how characters were. It wasn't that this is a powerful woman superhero. It's a superhero who just happened to have tits. You know what I'm saying? So that was fun. And it wasn't so much of a big deal because I'm obviously black, so I know about how they like to pander. Like, oh, look, we put a black person in representation. And I'm a girl and all of that stuff too. But it's like, they didn't shove it all in your face. It was just good characters and stuff now. So, okay, we know that. So lately now, if you look at what the complaints have been, the complaints are about how they are not the male characters and are not the same, and the male fans are not happy. So Marvel, who are you making these movies for? Because you seem to be making movies that people like me, the average goer who will do the lore, and people like you, maybe, the average person who just says, oh, look, a cool superhero movies. Hey, kids, you want to go to movies? Yep, let's go. Buy a ticket and go see it. What was that about? I don't know. It was some guy fighting and it was lasers and it was fighting and it was a superhero movie. You know, you guys are starting to say, these movies are bad. These movies are bad. These shows are bad. And so now we're like, again, who is this for? Let's come to She-Hulk. So many problems. First thing, okay, the technical stuff, we just saw the trailer. Like I said, I'm going to only be in here for a couple more minutes because I don't even care enough to cut video and put some clips up or anything. Go Google it and look at it yourself. The CGI was awful. She looks awful. The She-Hulk before used to look like the Hulk, but it was a girl face. So they made it look like a sexy body, but green. So guys are happy about that. But the way this character is written is cringy. It's like, this is going to be a D+ show. And they're calling it online like, it's called She-Hulk Attorney at Law. But they're making fun of it, calling it like Sex in the City and stuff. And I'm like, that's what it's for. Because think about it. This is like, She-Hulk is going to be like okay, so like I'm this woman and I have this job and, you know, I have friends and I go out and eat. I'm going to date and, you know, my life is just so many things. And I'm just living in the city and do all these cool things. Oh, and I'm also a superhero. You know, that too. And so I'm like, it seems like people who would watch that type of show don't really watch comic books. Like who watches Sex in the City? Are those people who watch Sex in the City and go see when Sarah Jessica Parker does a book signing or Kim Cattrall, who are the people who line up to go see her? Are those the same people who line up to go see fucking Scarlet Witch and or fucking Wanda, what her name is, Olsen, if she was to go do something dressed as Scarlet Witch? Are those Sex in the City women going to be the same people there? When they have Comic-Con, do you see the Sex in the City group there? No. So why is this show feel like Sex in the City? So who did you make this for? The people who made this show are people who watch Sex in the City. And I'm sorry to keep bringing up that show, but within 24 hours, I've seen so many people make that comparison. And even myself, when I watched it, I said, this feels like something that should be on Lifetime. And then okay, let me save that. Let me save that for the worst part. But they got her talking and saying things that's almost like they're trolling their fans at this point. And I don't really put too much weight on what some of these guys online saying, because they're always crying like they were crying about spoiler alert. Doctor Strange, they were crying online about Doctor Strange's ex-girlfriend got married to some black guy. Oh, Doctor Strange got cut by a black guy. He got cut by a black guy. The black guy who didn't have, not one line in the movie. He just married her. And then they had the fight scene with the octopus and he was never seen again. And they were upset about that. So a lot of what they say, I don't really give a fuck about. Y'all can go fuck, okay? But I do agree with this here. It's like, okay, so these are the same people who watch these comics. They don't like this kind of stuff. And She-Hulk looks bad. And it's not, and not that it just looks bad to them, your core audience, who is men, and not just white, black, just men, boys, men, all in general, mostly, and your comic book girls, but men mostly. It looks bad to them. It's looking bad to us now, too. Normal, regular people who are like, wait a minute, this ain't as good as Infinity War. Wait a minute, Ant-Man was better. Wait a minute. Captain America Civil War was way better than anything that came on Disney Plus in the last year. And there's a Hawkeye, and that is including Moon Knight. Yes, and I did like the 2 or 3 of the episodes, but guess what? It completely jumped the shark. Hawkeye, I don't even remember. I have no. So Disney is starting to get bad to regular people. Disney, to whom are you making these films for? I love romance and stuff. I talk about sex, sex toy right here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I I like that stuff, but I don't like this because this doesn't feel like superhero stuff. And the character of She-Hulk is written really snotty, like how they had the Hawkeye girl just the superhero. I just happen. You know that's all I have to do is when you know that snotty bitch. Oh my God, my life, and oh God, oh, I'm just so busy all the time, and it's so fabulous life. It's so hard to be fabulous and be a superhero, and this high pressure job, it's so pressured. It's like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I like Natasha Romanoff, and I like Wanda. You know what I'm saying? Fucked up in the head ass bitches. You know what I'm saying? So the worst part about She-Hulk for me now was at the end. Now, like I said, I talk about sex and stuff a lot of romance and sexual stuff here. And the sexual energy was weird because, like I did say, the first Hulk was really, really, really big and bulky. I mean, the She-Hulk, they used to have her looking just like the regular Hulk, but just a girl version. So imagine a Hulk with a bow on his head, like how they did Miss Pac-Man. They turned Miss Pac-Man, just put a bow. So imagine the Hulk with like earrings on. That was the She-Hulk. So they have her looking like a girl now, but I completely lost my train of thought. Let me smoke again. Yeah, the sexual energy. I knew that we would bring it back. She is looking for a date, the She-Hulk, and she meets this guy, and I guess she takes him home. She picks him up in his arms and cradles him and carries him to bed like a baby. And I just cringed at that. I cringed so hard at that for so many reasons. I'm like, if I cringed, imagine what guys did, I do know someone who thought that was okay, but it's like majority of people were like, ew. And I'm just like, women, like, have you ever been on a date with a guy and you swept him up in your arms and carried him to bed? And if he asked you, if you were on a date with a guy and he asked you to sweep him up in his arms and carry him to bed, would you do it? Would you want to? Would you want to continue to go to bed? So I was like, when I saw the She-Hulk, I get that she's strong, but it's like, why is why do they have her like some cave beast? Like she might as well like bonk him on the head and drag him by his hair. It was just, maybe she should be dating another powerful person, another big, powerful, radioactive person. She got to go to radioactivemeat.com, or something like that. Because the sexual energy was off. They tried to make her look sexy for the guys, but then they wrote her in a way that guys wouldn't like. So if you want guys who are attracted to hot, sexy, big butt, big tits women, you know what I'm saying? You like that? And so when she opens her mouth, she's like, oh, men are stupid. And billionaires and narcissists. Tony Stark. Ooh! She called Tony Stark a narcissist. Tony Stark put the Infinity Stones on and said, I am Iron Man, knowing what that was going to do. And he's a narcissist. So, She-Hulk, no. It's a no from, it seems like almost everyone. And I don't care how it's going to fit into Doctor Strange or Marvels or whatever. Doctor Strange 2 was good in terms of, Marvel movies. It was good. I don't really care to see it again. It was more like a Wanda movie. But the D+ shows are really bad. The CGI was really bad. Really bad. So, yeah. She called Tony Stark a narcissist, and she cradled the guy in her arms and carried him off gently to bed. Or I guess she had rough, big Hulk sex on him, and he was like, probably in bed going, ah! I don't know. But, ew. Yeah, heebie-jeebies, She-Hulk, nah. All right, that's it. Marvel, you might be done. Ooh, right under 15 minutes.